Next, we're off to Tynecastle, where the Hearts' mission to claw back that negative points tally continued. They began the day on -8, and after an incredibly fast recovery from injury, Ryan Stevenson found a place on the bench. Hearts' opponents were the increasingly fluent Dundee United, Jackie McNamara's side fast becoming one of the Premiership's most exciting attacking sides. But could they keep the door closed at the back? The story of this game comes from Jane Lewis.
The story of this match, a healthy scattering of decent efforts from both sides and two controversial moments, more of which later, as Jason Holt tested the visitors' goalkeeper Radoslav Czerniak. In fact, Czerniak was busy early on. Minutes later, he dealt well with David Smith's free kick, which Callum Patterson had in his sights. It wasn't all about Hearts. Dundee United were doing their bit too. A neat exchange between John Rankin and David Goodwillie teed up Stuart Armstrong. While that shot was well over, the Hearts keeper Jamie McDonald had to look lively as Goodwillie and Rankin combined again. Some words of encouragement from the visitors' dugout and the Dundee United threat continued. But as Nadir Chifji thought he had put them ahead, David Goodwillie had been penalised for a push on Dylan McGowan. A good ball in from Paul Payton, but just watch Goodwillie as the ball comes over. His push on McGowan spotted early. From almost going a goal behind, Hearts rallied. Neat skill from Jamie Walker allowed Jamie Hamill to unleash an effort that required a great save from Czerniak. Now, remember I mentioned there were two controversial moments in this match. We'll cue the second and arguably the main talking point. It looked as though a simple tap-in by Dylan McGowan had put Hearts in front. But these celebrations were short-lived. Disbelief from the Hearts manager amid claims of a push on the Dundee United goalkeeper by Jason Holt. The goal disallowed after referee Stephen McLean had been alerted by his linesman, and Hearts not happy. All that, and it was still the first half, and there was still time for another Dundee United assault on goal. Keith Watson tried his luck, as did Stuart Armstrong. The second half was not quite as incident-packed as Nadir Chifji tried his best to win it for Dundee United. Jamie McDonald got down well to stop the midfielder. And he came closer in the 65th minute. Sean Dillon's long ball. Dealt with well by Stuart Armstrong. But this time the post kept out Chifji's strike. So, points shared at Tynecastle, but Hearts possibly the more aggrieved after their disallowed goal.
It was important that we took the right care in going forward and try and get the goal. But we hit the post a few other chances, but I don't think we were clinical enough.
Certainly second half, I thought we were on the front foot most of the time. Obviously they looked dangerous in the counter-attack. But I need to see the decision for the first half, because I'm standing here thinking that we should have won 1-0.
Just when you think you've seen everything in Scottish football, you get phantom goals. Craig, you were at Tynecastle yesterday. What was your take on the phantom goal, the goal that never was for Hearts?
Well, my initial reaction at the match was I thought that Czerniak had misread the flight of the ball, and he stepped forward a couple of paces, realised he was underneath it and tried to recover and just couldn't get there.
Any infringement there?
I didn't see anything at the time, and I don't see anything. I'm trying to look at it from the referee's viewpoint and also from the linesman's viewpoint. I really can't see anything that would merit a free kick.
I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking, if you're right to say the keeper's too far forward, he's misread it. Had the player not been on him, would the keeper have dealt with this any differently? I don't think so. I think he's just misread it, and I think Hearts are really unlucky. For the second week in a row, they're really unlucky. I mean, I don't think they necessarily deserve to actually win the game.
But that goal should have stood. What about the Dundee United phantom goal, Pat? Any sense that this should have stood?
Well, Jane was saying in the commentary that it was for that push. Well, I wouldn't say so. I would say it should have been for the handball. I don't think there was much in that push there. But there weren't too many complaints about it. There's nothing in that push, but that's an absolute clear handball. But number one, Jackie McNamara's actually built a really good team again. Every time you look at Dundee United, every year they lose great players, but it still looks like a really good team that he's building, and he's built it very quickly.
Yeah, great attacking football from United at times this season. Craig, good news for Hearts, the return of Ryan Stevenson. They thought he was going to be out for about 15 weeks, and he's managed to come back in 7 weeks. This was the incident that led to his injury. But how do you see things in terms of Hearts at the moment off the field? Obviously, they've got the boost of a League Cup quarter-final, Edinburgh Derby coming up next month, which will help the coffers as well. You're involved with the campaign at the moment to try and keep Hearts on an even keel financially. What's your view generally of the Tynecastle?
Well, firstly, Stevenson's situation, it's great to have him back because, firstly, Hearts don't have a lot of experienced players, and he can play in a number of positions, so that'd be great, because as the season progresses, then the chances are that the squad, being quite threadbare already, will get even more stretched, and he'll be needed, that's for sure. I mean, with regard to off-the-field activities, I mean, I'm hopeful that things are still heading in the right direction. There are still some decisions to be made across in Lithuania that can have a huge effect on what happens at Hearts moving forward. So keep our fingers crossed that things can progress, and and hopefully everything will be well.
-7 points now, Pat. Reasons to be cheerful for the Jambos?
Do you know, that could have been a great result, and it still might be a great result, depending on tomorrow night's game. But in the end, 13,000 people watched that game, more than Inverness, Killie and St Johnstone games put together. Fantastic for the Jambos.